Chapter 5. Breakfast with the President. June wakes up suddenly as sunlight charges into the room through the window above the bed. Yue, wake up. We can't be late to Dr. Ho's office. Get dressed. It's already 7:30. Yue jumps up and grabs his clothes. We forgot to set an alarm. I'm glad you woke up. We will be in enough trouble for missing last night's mandatory dinner. We can't afford upsetting the president by missing his breakfast. June says, bring your bag of tricks. We may need the use of your field distortion device again. And wear a different shirt. Madonna is so yesterday. Yue responds, I love Madonna. But okay, I'll wear a clean shirt. What do you know about my little gizmo? June says, I felt it yesterday as you turned it on in Dr. Ho's office. Yue asked, you felt it? What do you mean you felt it? June answers, my father had something similar in his office at home. Whenever he wanted to discuss anything sensitive relating to his position as a general, he would turn it on. I could always feel a light vibration in the back of my head when it was on. It was never painful, and I could easily ignore it, but I knew when it was on. Yue laughs. You're just full of surprises, aren't you? Snatching up his backpack, he says, let's go. We don't want to be late. And I have some questions for the president. Looking down at the ring on his finger, if he notices the rings, let me give him an answer he will believe. June agrees, and they leave the apartment. They arrive at Dr. Ho's office a few minutes before 8. There's a small eating table set up in the center of the room with 3 chairs around the table. The president is sitting at his desk. He looks up and sees that they have finally arrived. He picks up the phone and barks out that the breakfast can now be brought in. He stands and walks around his desk to face June and Yue. He pauses a moment, looking at the 2 men with a slight frown on his face before finally saying, please, take a seat at the table. June and Yue choose chairs next to each other and sit down. As Yue sets his backpack on the floor between their 2 chairs, he reaches inside and activates his field distorter. June gives a slight shudder and nods his approval. Dr. Ho turns to a small side table against the wall where carafes of coffee and orange juice set. Do you 2 want some coffee or juice? June starts to stand and says, here, Dr. Ho, let me help you with that. Dr. Ho responds, nonsense, sit down. I'm already up and helping myself. Sit. As juice and coffee are set on the table for them, breakfast arrives on a rolling serving cart. Yue and June had forgotten how hungry they were. They hadn't eaten anything since noon the previous day. The aroma of the fish, rice, and sweetbreads made their stomachs growl. Taking bowls and chopsticks from the cart, the 2 started helping themselves to the food. No words were spoken for about 20 minutes. Yue and June slowed their eating and looked up to see the president closely observing them in silence. He hadn't eaten a thing. He just sat there sipping his tea watching them. They stopped eating and laid their chopsticks across their bowl. Dr. Ho begins, your obvious absence from last night's dinner was noticed by all the new arrivals and staff. There were so many rumors flying around the dining hall that they were ricocheting off the walls. Some of those rumors came from my own an effort to cover for your absence. Do you understand me? Neither answered. They just stared at him in anticipation of an assigned discipline for their actions. Dr. Ho continues, regardless of your reasons for missing last night's dinner, I made it clear that the 2 of you were doing some research for me and you were not to be disturbed. He waited for their reaction or response, but they gave him neither. With a hint of frustration, he continued, I need to talk to you both about what you found in my personal files. Yue cuts his eyes toward June before answering. What do you mean what we found? We told you yesterday about the attempted hacks, but they were unsuccessful. And we told you we added some security coding to strengthen the account security. There should be no possibility for anyone to breach that security now. June added. Dr. Ho sets his tea down and tries to compose himself with a few calming deep breaths. No, I'm talking about what you saw in my personal files. My personal files, Yue responds. After I saw the embezzlement Mr. Lee was committing, I decided to see if there were any recent communications between the 2 of you that would indicate your own involvement. I only scanned for communications between the 2 of you over the last year. There were only a few, and those were benign in nature and unrelated at all to the embezzlement. June interjects. I too was looking for any connection. I tried to go back more than a year, but time ran out. I found nothing to connect you to Mr. Lee. That's all you were looking for? A connection? In unison, they both say yes. Looking a little relieved, the president starts sipping his tea again, lost in thought. After a while, he looks at them curiously. How did you find the apartment? Did you sleep well last night? June shared a long look with Yue before asking quietly, Dr. Ho, who died in the apartment? Dr. Ho dropped his teacup and stared up in shock. You said you didn't read my personal files. He screamed at them. Yue stood up abruptly, gazing at him with angry gray eyes, letting the master priest within take control of the conversation. Sternly he says, We told you we did not read any of your personal files. We both felt the presence of two souls in that apartment. That is why we missed the dinner last night. Now answer the question. With tears in his eyes, Dr. Ho quietly said, My sons, my twin sons. Yue sinks down to his chair, washed with emotions. He saw the grief and confusion in June's eyes. June's mind was somewhere else. His eyes glazed over, not blinking. Yue reached over and placed his hand on June's thigh. June blinked, looked at Yue, and took his own hand from the tabletop and placed it over Yue's hand. Dr. Ho was lost in sudden grief and did not notice the calming touch the two young men gave each other. In a strained voice that for some reason seemed laced with hidden anger, Dr. Ho started to speak without looking at them. My sons were very close. Even for twins, they were closer than most. We had an argument. I was making plans to send them to different universities, away from each other. There were rumors here that made it difficult for them to continue their studies. Rumors that were destructive to me and my position. The only decision I could see that would fix the situation was to send them to separate universities. The day after the big argument I had with them, no one could find them. They did not go to their classes and were not seen in their usual places. A senior, who was their best friend and keeper of their darkest secrets, asked me to look in their apartment to see if they were hiding out there. I was still angry. Instead of going myself, I gave him the key to the apartment. I heard the sirens from the ambulance before their friend found me. He was the one who called for an ambulance after he found them. They had taken poison and died together in their tub. They left no note. Nothing to explain why, but I know why. Their hearts could never be separated. They died in each other's arms. For several years, I had to deal with all those rumors along with my own anger, guilt, and sadness. He finally looked at them, bringing his emotions under control. This is a part of my past I wish to forget, but I'm haunted by it daily. Last night was the first night I actually slept peacefully without those dreams. He noticed that Yue was resting his left elbow on the table, with his chin in his left hand lost in thought. June's eyes were distant, but he was lightly strumming the fingers of his left hand on the tabletop. Dr. Ho noticed the identical rings they each wore on their left ring finger. He wonders out loud, That's odd. I didn't see you two wearing those rings yesterday. June stopped strumming his fingers, and Yue's attention snapped back to the present. Looking at his ring, Yue said, These are good luck charms I brought from the temple. I have a few items that were blessed by a master before I left. But why is June wearing an identical ring? Suspicion slicing through the air. Yue explains, When we entered the apartment yesterday and felt the presence of your sons, I knew I had to pray and seek resolution for their souls in order for them to pass into the world of the dead. I'm not strong enough on my own to accomplish such a complicated task, even as a master. The rings are meant to be worn together on the same finger for balance. I needed the inner strength that June possesses to aid me with the passing ritual. With him wearing one ring and me the other, as long as the two rings are touching, it allowed a combining of our inner strength. With June in deep meditation and the rings touching, I was able to channel that strength into the passing ritual. It took several hours chanting the prayer before their spirits passed from the world of the living. In the end, we were both drained of any energy and fell into a deep sleep. We did not wake until 7:30 this morning. That is why we barely made it here on time today and why we missed last night's dinner. Dr. Ho looked at them uncertainly and with overwhelming skepticism. I'm not a religious man. I don't understand what you just told me, and I actually don't believe in any of this witchcraft you're talking about. Regardless, You will never speak about this again. Not with anyone. Not even with me. Do you understand? As one they both respond with, "Yes, sir." Turning off the switch to his memories, Dr. Ho looks around the room and then targets his attention on the two of them. "I have another job for you two Snoopy detectives." June says, "Snoopy detectives? What are you insinuating?" Dr. Ho only huffs out, "I'm not insinuating anything you are not already aware of. You two will do some additional investigations into why certain organizations are trying to hack into my personal files. Why am I being targeted? You want us to spy on the spies?" Yuang asks. Dr. Ho nods, in a way, yes. "I need some answers, and I need to know how to prevent it. I think the first thing to do is to find out the why, and then proceed from there." "So why would they target you, Dr. Ho? What do you have to hide?" Zhu inquires. The president stood and looked down at him. "I have nothing to hide. I know of nothing. I know you will dig through all my information, even without my permission or even knowing you are doing it. If I knew why, I would have no reason to keep that information from two snoops like you." He walks around his desk and sits in his leather chair. "I want you to meet with me every Friday for breakfast to discuss this new assignment. If something is discovered, don't wait until Friday. Find me immediately. Of course, this is to be kept quiet and strictly between the three of us. You're not allowed to speak about it with anyone. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes, sir. This must all be done on your own time. Your studies cannot suffer because of this. You must attend all your classes, and your performance must be above those around you. You will have to endure the rumors that you are my pets. I will deal with those when they arise. Rumors about your personal life might be the hardest to bear. I don't want anything about this investigation traced back to the university or myself. Do you understand what I'm saying?" Yuang looks at June for agreement. The slight smile on his face was all the answer he needed. "We accept the challenge of this assignment, Dr. Ho. I don't want any tracing back to this university. Are you two equipped to accomplish this without involving the university?" Yuang stands and puts his backpack across his shoulder. He pats the backpack, smiling. "Don't worry. I have come prepared. Come June, I think breakfast is over. We have work to do. We will see you for breakfast on Friday, sir." The two of them leave the office, heading out to find their class schedule.